Hello everyone, and welcome to Full-on, your Fulham-centric football podcast. I'm your host, Ash Woolford, and joining me today is AJ and Mozza. AJ, how you doing, buddy?
I'm ecstatic, can't you tell?
Yeah, Mozza, how you doing, mate?
Oh, I'm so proud someone has finally used my catchphrase. Thank you, AJ.
You're very
Yeah,
welcome,
it's
sir.
good. It's good. Obviously, we're here to talk about the Arsenal game coming up on Saturday night. We've had a week and a bit break because of international. Probably came at the right time for Fulham, considering our squad and what was going on before it. We're still all, I think, rather perplexed and angry about the last couple of results we've had, which have not helped with this international window coming around. Um, it's not like us usually, Fulham. We usually go into international weekends playing really, really well and then go to complete crap afterwards. So we need to see an opposite of fortunes coming up here. But we have to be honest and look at who we're playing on Saturday and realise that that may not
Mhm.
happen. AJ, we're playing Arsenal. You know, we know who they are. They've been very good this season. They are a very good team. They deserve to be top of the league where they are, as far as I'm concerned. Watching them so far this season, we've got a few holes in our squad. Still some injuries that we don't know what we're looking at going into until Marco does his press conference on Friday, which will be after this has come out. What are you expecting squad wise? What are you expecting to see us put out on Saturday night?
I honestly have no clue for the first time. I can't even hazard a guess. Like, we've got Robinson, who's still technically injured, but has also been on international duty, so is probably tired. You've got Awobi, who's been on international duty with Bassi, who are probably a little bit shaken up by the emergency landing and all of that jazz. You've got Raul and Muniz still potentially both injured. Who knows? You've got Kevin still with slight shoulder problems. Like, you've seen him strapped up in every training video we've seen in the last 2 weeks. And then we've got Lukic that's out for 4 to 6 weeks. It's like, and I haven't even heard any news about Kenny Tete to know what's going on with him and whether or not he's hurt himself still or not. So, frankly, I have no clue what to expect from us. It doesn't help much for this video, I'll be honest.
No,
But
no.
for
Do
the
you know
first
what?
time ever,
Yeah. I think it's part of the point though, isn't it? That we just don't know where we lie in squad wise. We knew that the squad was light. We knew the squad we did not do enough during the transfer window. And I know some people were slightly blindsided because we had a couple of good players come in on deadline day, but those couple of good players don't cover up the cracks that were clearly there. Um, Having no striker fit, that apart from one 18-year-old that we know the manager doesn't really fancy, is a
doesn't
worrying
like
thing going
him.
into it's a worrying thing. Um, it's one of those things. Like this Arsenal team going in on Saturday, we know what's coming for us on Saturday, right? We know that their squad and their ability, so we know that we're probably going to have to be quite defensive going into this game anyway. AJ, are you expecting a formation change going into this one, even though we know Marco doesn't really like doing that at home? Or are you just expecting it to be one of those that we just need to put square pegs in round holes where we have them and hope that
we'll be
we don't
stick.
get
We'll
beaten
be
too heavily?
we'll be sticking with a 3/5 at the back simply because we don't have the midfield men to play in it. Marco will still rather pick Kenny and uh, not even Kenny. He'd rather pick ESR and or King in a two in midfield with Berge before he even thinks about picking Harrison Reed, and that's just the pure honest truth. And even Kearney's probably in his pecking order in a midfield too, ahead of um, ahead of Harrison Reed. And the reality of the situation is a midfield two against Arsenal is suicide. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, look, Monza, I wanted to speak to you about obviously the injury crisis that we have. We know that right back we're sort of slightly light, although I do believe that Timothy Castagne has actually done all right in the games he's played in. He hasn't been that bad. Striker wise, we know we're light, but I think our biggest problem is this Lukic injury because he is such an important part of our midfield, and we don't really have any other players in the squad that are like him. And Sander Berg, we have to be honest, has probably had 3 or 4 really poor games of late. Are you expecting? What are you expecting to see midfield wise on Saturday? Are you expecting, as I just said, like a square peg in a round hole and just try to put someone in the same position and still play the two in the middle? Or do you think we might see a little bit of a rejig?
It's funny you ask, because I was thinking about this earlier with the Lukic injury as well. Not to mention, is it if he picks up one more yellow card, then he gets a ban. But that's going to happen sooner or later. Whether it's this side of the year or not, we'll see. Who do you pair up with Berge though? Because as you say, he's had a few turkeys at the beginning of this season, hasn't he, game wise? And I'm sorry, I'm glancing down, just seeing what we actually have available, who we have available squad wise. I agree. I think Timmy Chestnuts, he'll definitely be in the mix. We know he always puts in the shift, so more than happy with that. Formation. I think what AJ was just saying about sort of the 3-5 and the 2, and then look, will we be starting with Adama Traore up front? I mean, or will it be Harry Wilson? It's got to be Wilson, hasn't it? Will it be Josh King? We should bloody hope so. But because we've got a few old Arsenal boys here, haven't we, as well? Let's not forget. Got Iwobi, ESR. Could we see SR starting with Berge at all? And I'll throw that question to the both of you.
I doubt it. No, I doubt it. For me, I don't think ESL has the stamina to play even 60 minutes as a central midfielder. There's a lot of back and forth in that position, and it's as harsh as it sounds. I almost wish like it was Berger that was injured and not Lukic.
Who have we got to put next to him though?
So I think AJ said it. I think Harrison Reed is the most obvious player to put in that position. But at the moment,
the correct answer is Harrison Reed. He just won't be played.
Yeah, I just don't think he's in favour.
Yeah,
I think we're likely.
Go on, Ash.
I would say I think we're likely to see Tom Cairney played in that position on Saturday, because he's someone who can get his foot on the ball and sort of try to control it a little bit. And there's nobody else in the squad who can sort of do that to the level he can do that, other than barring maybe Josh King. But you don't really want to be putting Josh King in a game like this against Arsenal and give him that role for 2 or 3 reasons. Obviously, it's a lot of pressure on his shoulders, but also Arsenal are a big squad. They're very tall. Like they're very big, and he's very small. And as much as he's really good at being taking a few knocks here and there, there's a big level of difference between what Lukic can bring and what he can bring in that position. So I doubt we'll see that. I think the only person who makes sense playing in that position is Tom Cairney. Well, no, that's not true. Harrison Reed is the one that makes most sense, but I think the one we're most likely to see is Tom Cairney, and that worries me because we won't.
Yeah,
we won't win any battles without Arsenal.
Yeah. But yeah, sorry, just to go back to the end of your question, Ash, what do I expect? I'm sort of scratching my head as well, as I imagine, I would hope every Fulham fan is really, because you go against these teams, the big Big Six, well, Arsenal at top of the league at the moment. On paper, we're probably going to get destroyed. I'm not going to give away a score prediction just yet. I'm actually more excited about going to the Wickham game in the Cup, just to see youth academy players, not because I think we're definitely going to beat Wickham Wanderers. I'd almost rather lose to Wickham Wanderers and see new talent and fresh blood and have that be more of an exciting game. But yeah, I'm trying to find positives. I know we always say this is part of being a Fulham fan, but ahead of this game, I can't see anything that's looking good for us. Is there anything going our way? I'm pissed off about the 30 kickoff as well. Yeah,
I think realistically,
no.
You're not. No, I think realistically, we have to look at it slightly differently and go, the shackles are off a bit on Saturday. I don't think we're expecting anything from the game. I think you are a very confident Fulham fan if you were expecting anything out of the game on Saturday. The way our squad's been playing the last couple of weeks, the way our squad looks injury wise, the way Arsenal are playing, let alone that alone, it's not like Arsenal last year at home. It's not like Arsenal the year before at home. We're unbeaten against Arsenal for the last two home games at Craven Cottage, right? But they were Arsenal closer to the end of the season when they were having their usual drop off. This is Arsenal at the beginning of the season when they are on the way up. And that's a different prospect of a squad we're playing against at the moment. So I think realistically, we can look at it in the sense of we're not expecting anything. So really, all I want to see is the fight and commitment that we've been moaning about we haven't seen in the last couple of weeks. We were all really disappointed about how quickly we gave up against Villa, and the mentality shift and drop there was frustrating. You can't really say that happened against Bournemouth because Bournemouth sort of ran away with it near the end of the game, but it is what it is. That I think what I want to see on Saturday more is the commitment levels back and the not giving up on ourselves rather than more than anything. I think that the mentality wise has to be the thing that shines through on Saturday. It is possible to lose against Arsenal on Saturday and still be happy with the result as long as an effort's put in. What I'll be disappointed with is we have a game like we had against Villa, like we've seen a few times from Fulham this season, where one or two things go against us, be that decision wise or a few bits of great bit of play by the opposition, and everyone's heads just drop. That we can't afford to have. And
This is what I've sensed
think
happening
that's
too. Yeah.
that's the most important thing. But AJ, we spoke about it quite a lot after the Villa game about mentality, and obviously that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. For you going into a game like this, how would you want the players to be? Would you want them to look at it like we just said, in the sense of that we're not expecting much, but we can hurt Arsenal. We know we can. We've done it in the past, but no one's expecting you to. So just go out and play your game, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, as long as you've done what you need to do, everyone will be happy.
Well, there's a few things to unpick about that. First is that no one's expecting us to. I think there's a single disagreement there, and that would be Marco Silva. Marco Silva, as we've heard from the squad, doesn't look at any game as right, that one's a write-off, or that one would be happy with a point with. He prepares to win on every occasion, and he's fuming, frankly, when we don't. So I'd expect him to set up to win. The other thing is, and the couple of things that we've got going for us are, as you said, from a general perspective, no one expects us to get anything out of this, which means we normally do. Fulham have a habit of showing up to these big games and getting a result when no one expects us to. Like, we've had it on multiple occasions on multiple seasons now where it's happened on all of these big fixtures. The other thing is that Arsenal are in a particular point of bragging where they've had 2 weeks of uninterrupted bragging rights across all of social media. And in typical Arsenal fashion, when they have that and they're barking too early, it all comes crashing down on their face. Normally with an unexpected loss against the likes of someone like Fulham. That we have going for us, because in traditional fashion, we will get a result against them in a quite ironic manner, and it will allow every other fan base to absolutely ridicule the shit out of Arsenal fans online for a week or so, since they drop points and lose their position in the league or something like that. Especially since they've been Billy Big Bollocks for 2 weeks. So I don't expect the win. Do I see there potentially one happening because of those factors? The ironic twist of life says so. I believe so.
Yeah, I think that it's one of those games where I'm not expecting anything personally, right? I'm not expecting Fulham to come away with anything on Saturday. As long as I see commitment and fight, I'm happy. If I see commitment and a fight and a draw, I'm ecstatic. Like it's one of those things, right? That you have to look at it like that. And you are right about Arsenal and their mentality. Weirdly, is just as fragile as ours, and they hate being reminded of that, but it's very very true. You know, they have a very fragile mindset at their football club too. Partly down to the fact that their manager also had that when he was a player. So I'm not surprised he has it when now he's a manager. And we've seen Arsenal come to Craven Cottage in the last couple of years overly confident about getting a result before games and us being able to pull one out of the bag. And we have to look at this squad as dilapidated as it is and say it's still better than the squad we had 2 years ago who won this game. It's arguably stronger than the squad we had last season who drew the game. Like it's one of those ones, isn't it, that we have to realistically look at it like that and go, not expecting, always hoping. And if we can rile up some Arsenal fans online while doing it, even better because they're hilarious and it's always fun doing that. Lads, let's finish this one how we always do. Players to watch of both teams and a scoreline prediction, please. Mozza, I'm going to start with you, mate. Can I have a player to watch from both teams and a scoreline prediction?
Yeah, it is just going to be Sander Berge, but it might not be down to him. But I'm going to keep an eye on him because, where I said he's had a few gaffes so far this season. It'll be interesting to see whoever he is paired next to or in the line with how he does. Actually, I might just honourably mention Harry Wilson there quickly as well because he seemed a bit weak recently, and I know he's been playing for Wales in the international break, so it'd be interesting to see how fatigued he is. For Arsenal, it's going to be Trossard for me purely because if we've got Timmy C in that defensive line opposite him, I'd wonder how he will fare against him. Again, comes down to whatever formation that we go with. And who in defence, will it be Diop or Cuenca? I'd rather see Cuenca, but those are my reasons for why it would be Trossard. Scoreline prediction, I say 1-0 Arsenal, but I'll take a draw. I'll take a 0-0, but I reckon 1-0 Arsenal.
Yeah, fair enough. AJ, how about yourself, mate? Player to watch from both teams and a scoreline prediction, please. You're on mute, mate.
I think my two players to watch are heavily linked to each other. It's going to be Gyökeres and Andersen, purely because of the battle that's going to go on between them. It's likely, as Mozza said, that we're going to play a back three / back five, which means three centre backs. Most people would say that's ideal against a player like Gyökeres. However, he's come from a system where he spent every waking minute playing with a back three behind him and would have faced it every single training session for many, many years. So he probably knows how to break a back three better than he knows how to break a four-man defense that will drop deep and be compact into itself. So that's definitely a battle to watch, especially considering he's on fraud. What Gyökeres that is on fraud watch at the moment, and it's very typical of a player on fraud watch to bag 3 or 4 against us. Scoreline prediction. I'm watching the game at a friend's house who's an Arsenal supporter, so it's got to be 4-0 Arsenal, right?
Yeah, it's one of those ones, isn't it? Look, for me, rather sadly, I'm on a 3-game correct prediction run here, which is annoying because 2 of those have been losses and I've called them. It's one of those ones that I've got 3 in a row wrong and I want to be wrong again. Sorry, I got 3 in a row right, but I don't want to get this one right. For me, players to watch, I'll start with that first. Probably Declan Rice. Midfield is going to be very important in the game on Saturday, especially with ours being slightly askew. If he can get comfortable and start running the game like he can do, and how we've seen him do it loads of times, he will have a field day, and we need to make sure that we don't let that happen. For us, as much as I want to be like, oh, it's going to be Kevin or someone or Chukwueze coming on and being attacking, it's Leno, and it will 100% be Leno for me because he's had 2 or 3 games where I've really questioned his shot stopping ability, and he's being beat a little bit easy. He did sort of question whether or not we should think about dropping him, but we won't for this game. He's too important. And if he's on one of those games where he plays really, really well, he'll keep us in a game, and he'll be amazing. And it'll be that game that he wins us every year that he does once or twice, right? We know that he can do that. I want to see a reaction to that Bournemouth game where he conceded 2 goals that he probably shouldn't have done. But we'll see. Scoreline wise, again, I've got 3 in a row right, so I don't want to get this one right. But I see this either being 1-0 Arsenal or 4-2 Arsenal. I don't see Fulham getting anything out of this game, but I also imagine we can probably get at them a little bit. So it's hard to see. This is either going to be a really tight, annoying one where Arsenal score early and then we just can't do anything about it for the rest of the game, or they'll score a late winner and we'll frustrate them all game, but then they'll score a late winner, and I can see it happening. Yeah, it's one of those ones that just I don't see us getting a result. Sadly, all I really want is for everyone playing is to show the commitment that we know that they have, and to not drop their heads, because we've seen that a little bit too much of late. Harry Wilson is probably key to that for us, because I think he's had a couple of really poor games at us, and he's had a really couple of poor games for Wales too. I know he didn't really have a chance playing against England at Wembley because Wales were woeful, but the game against Belgium the other night, he looked like he gave up halfway through when the game sort of slightly went against him. I don't want to see that in a Fulham shirt.
Can I also
I'm
throw
happy
in there,
though.
Ash? Sorry to interrupt
Go on,
you,
mate.
but Marco Silva as well. Let's see how he reacts to anything and everything.
Marco, for me, I just wanted to show him leading from the front in terms of if he's going to be the one to lose his head so the players on the pitch don't do it, that's fine. But I can't have like Wilson's yellow card at Villa Park that came 30 seconds after Marco's yellow card because he then thought he had the permission to carry on moaning. That I don't want to see. We need to stop that. If we're going to have any way of progressing in this league or not being such a pushover or losing our heads, that 100% needs to stop. But we'll see how it goes. You never know. With Arsenal coming, we don't know what Arsenal will come in, but we know their qualities they have. We will see. We will be back next week on Monday with our review for this game. Hopefully, with a few positive things to say, despite whatever the result may be. I think the international break, as I say, came at the wrong time for everyone, so we're all a little bit down, still reeling from the Bournemouth game and the Villa games, especially. So we shall see how that goes. Hopefully, Fulham have a good weekend though, and don't ruin everybody else's. AJ, I hope you enjoy the game at your mate's house and can at least have some moments of joy from watching it. I will be crying at the back of the Hammersmith end. I can feel it. So we'll go from there. I hope you all have a good weekend. Hopefully, Fulham can do all right. Not really much more to say other than come on, you whites.